Okay, welcome to the March Drought Monitoring Work Group meeting. Let's do a roll call before we get started, and welcome everybody. This is Dave Dubois down in Las Cruces.
Raymond with the Bureau.
Julie Valdez and Molly Magnuson, Office of the State Engineer.
Susan Rich, New Mexico State Forestry.
Dave Simmerall, the Drought Monitor author this week.
Dave Nolan, National Weather Service, El Paso.
Curtis McFadden, Army Corps of Engineers, Albuquerque District.
Hi, Dave. This is Victor Murphy from Weather Service Southern Region.
And I'm Chuck Jones here at the National Weather Service Forecast Office, joined today by John Fleck from the Albuquerque Journal. Kind of a skeleton crew here today.
All right, well, good. Welcome, everyone. And so we'll get started. I see Chuck has the National Weather Service PowerPoint loaded up, and why don't you go ahead, Chuck?
All right, thanks, Dave. Y'all can't read this little thing here. I'm whispering, is El Nino coming? We'll talk more about that toward the latter part of the discussion here. Remember we talked last time briefly about a change in the design, the appearance of the map. We used to use just real contours at 20% intervals, and it was not a very coarse or fine analysis by any means. Now we're using the data that we get from AHAPS, AHAPS multi-sensor analysis that includes not only actual precipitation totals, but estimates from radar as well. But with that, there's going to be inherited problems that we see every single month due to the blockage of the radar by things called the mountains. And you can see one very clearly here along the edge of the Sandias, where we're missing in Manzanos, we're missing some data in here. This sharp contrast here will probably show up a lot of times. There will also be a general minimum down here, and perhaps in the corners of the state as well, just because of the lack of radar coverage. But overall, we think this is a little better, a little coarser, a little more exact. It's going to show probably better precipitation totals at higher elevations as well. So how did we do in February? Well, I guess the good news is it was a lot better. It was better than January, but that's not saying a whole lot. 27% of normal, so just above a quarter. Most areas were below normal, especially the southwest third, and in an area up here in the northeast as well. And other areas getting close to normal, but maybe a little above, but that was about it. So pretty poor month overall, just 27% of normal. That ended up being the ninth driest on record, going back to the late 1800s. And if we combine January and February, as bad as January was, you would think, and February not being very good, obviously, the calendar year so far is very poor. It is the driest on record at only 16% of normal statewide precipitation. At least the best was in the northern mountains at 27%, but most areas were well below that. And southern deserts dropped down to just 6% of normal. If we go back one more month and we take in the last 3 months, which we consider the winter season, we talked about this last time. We estimated it would be among the top handful driest on record, and indeed it did show up as the third driest on record at just 31% of normal precipitation. just threw in this morning. Dave and Victor were exchanging some data, and I grabbed this off of the SCIP site. And this is a 6-month total. It goes back 180 days from recently. And so we're starting at September 21, which is right around the end of the big September rains that we had. And so basically since then, this is going to show you the total average rainfall down here. And we have it broken up by climate divisions, and I'll point out two of the climate divisions. Division 3, which is the Northeast Plains here, has been the 6th driest on record. Very, very low amount of rainfall, and then the southern deserts as well. Climate Division 8 is the 5th driest on record. So it's been dry everywhere, but especially the Northeast into the East Central Plains down here, and then across the southern, Southwest, and South Central desert regions. If another pretty similar October through February, which is the water year, and we're now 5 months into it, we ended up with a statewide average of right at 50%. So we're only at half of our precept for the past 5 months, with the southern deserts again leading the way in terms of the driest at 31%, and the northern mountains at 73%. A lot of this was actually due to November precipitation. Otherwise, it'd be a lot lower. We were 133% of normal, I believe, in November across the state. So that ends up being the 11th driest on record for the water year so far. We're almost 2-inch deficit across the state. Now let's go back 12 months, and we're sitting at the 49th driest on record, about an inch below. And of course, a lot of that's due to the September and to some extent July precip last year. Otherwise, again, we'd be really in dire straits. So, that's not too bad, but short-term drought. But if we start talking longer-term drought, and we go back to 2 years or 24 consecutive months, now we're among the top 10 at the 8th driest on record, with a pretty big precipitation deficit of over 6 inches. And even worse, if we go back 3 years, we're the 4th driest on record, over 10 inches precipitation deficit across the state. And then down here you can see the 48 months, we're hanging in there at 5th driest, and 5 years, 7th driest. So, we're long-term drought. It's still here, and it's going to be here a while. So the current drought status as of Tuesday of this week, not looking too good. 96% of the state is in some form of drought. Just a little bit down here in the southeast is in no drought or abnormally dry. And now 65% almost is in severe to extreme drought. So, we'll see here as we look back at the last few months, we've been getting gradually worse. We've had some deterioration in the last month over the southwest. So we can see here with the development of D3, as well as up here in the northeast. It's filled in quite a bit. And recall, these are the two areas that have had the least amount of precipitation over the past 6 months as well. And these are the areas that are trending worse. It's actually a slight improvement across the southeast and far south central areas here, but nothing all that out of the ordinary, really. And in 3 months change, you can see even more. 1 category deterioration in many areas of the state, and again, 65% severe to extreme drought, and almost all the state moderate or worse drought. So let's see what lies ahead for us here after looking at pretty dire straits recently. The human, and I don't show it, but the human and model consensus supports the INSO neutral condition staying with us through the spring. But beyond that, models and the humans are suggesting that we could see a weak El Nino developing. And the models have been trending that way for several months, and they continue to do so. This just came out this morning, I believe, for the model INSO prediction. What I would take out of this is that every model is showing neutral or to above normal temperatures in the El Nino 3.4 region developing over the summer. So an El Nino watch has been issued here a couple of weeks ago, saying there's a 50% chance of an El Nino conditions developing in the summer or the fall this year. So that's looking more and more encouraging, but it still wouldn't get too excited here until a couple of months from now, when the models tend to get a better handle on this as well. The forecast for April is calling for about equal chances of above, near normal, or below normal precipitation for all of New Mexico. And again, as it's been for a few years now, it seems, above normal temperatures are the odds-on favorite for New Mexico, especially in the southwest half for the month of April. If we look at the April through June, or later spring into very early summer, again, equal chances here of above, below, or near normal precipitation. And again, odds favoring above normal temperatures for the state in a vast portion of the west and south. And of course, here finally, the seasonal drought outlook. We're going to have drought persisting and probably developing down here in the far southeast, where there isn't currently any drought. And that's all the bad news I can give you. Yeah, a little bit of good news on the potential El Nino, but
Okay. Any
the
questions?
effects of that wouldn't occur until the winter time.
Any questions for Chuck?
Got anything to add, Victor?
You guys were talking about the winds before everyone came on. This dust or smoke that we're seeing, or what was that?
That was dust. It was very little smoke. It was mostly dust. We've had two strong backdoor cold fronts come down the eastern plains of New Mexico the past week or so, and that dust actually came from southeast Colorado. That's been the source for this dust. Actually, it's from southeast Colorado. We've had a very strong cold fronts coming down, and there's been, I'd call them a haboob, a long band of dust along the cold front that spread across all the eastern plains, and then even spilled here into the Rio Grande Valley a couple of mornings ago. And with the inversion that formed that morning, that dust got trapped, in the valley, and it was pretty impressive, actually, from roughly Las Cruces all the way to Taos. We're reporting dust. So our two biggest dust events have been from backdoor cold fronts that came down through the eastern part of the state, rather than our more typical west to southwest winds, where it picks up a lot of dust. Now, we did see quite a bit of dust around Clovis and Portales, too, ahead of those fronts. It was showing up pretty well on visible radar. So.
And there was actually a.
That's been,
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
There was. I saw on Twitter there was a picture somebody sent in from Las Vegas, and it looked like a haboob that went through there, which I've never seen And I sent an email to KRQE, and I haven't heard back from them. I think somebody sent it to there, which I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
But it's an indicator of how dry the soils are in that whole area, southeast Colorado and Panhandle, Texas.
Yeah, hey Dave, this is Victor. Absolutely. I'm sorry, Chuck. I had my phone on mute earlier when you passed
That's
around
okay.
to me. The only thing I would add is the El Nino probability. If you look at that IRI chart which you showed, it looks like the probability may be as high as 60% now. So we'll see when the new ENSO diagnostic discussion gets released in a couple of weeks. You know, that 50% probability which you referred to will probably be raised up to like maybe low 60% probability. But as far as what does it mean for New Mexico, I think through the springtime, not much. Any positive impacts or any benefits from it probably will not be felt until next cold season. Starting in maybe November, December. When that El Nino signal for wetness shows itself, not just in New Mexico but also in Texas, with increased chances for above normal precip. And I guess a neat, maybe Dave can answer this, or maybe some of y'all there, in Weather Service in New Mexico. During developing El Ninos, is there any impact on monsoonal precip? I guess that would be the first big question that maybe we can answer in the months ahead between now and June when the monsoon starts. Do developing El Ninos lead to, increase in monsoonal precip or decreases or not much change at all?
Yeah, I haven't seen any good correlations.
I'm just tossing that out there. I don't have the answer to it, unfortunately.
But I was mentioning, talking to Castro over in Arizona, and I mean it's mainly a modeling thing, but I think he found connections between a delay in the monsoon slightly on some years.
This is Sean.
Yeah.
One of the things we know, just based on tropical cyclone activity, is when El Nino's active, the Atlantic is usually more diminished, but the East Pac is not. It's more active, which brings the probability of late season tropical cyclones bringing their moisture into the southwest, higher probability there. So it may not be, quote, monsoon, but it could occur in September, October, that sort of thing. So it's kind of part of the same tail end of the monsoon, but increased tropical cyclone activity in East Pac could bring additional monsoonal type moisture because of an El Nino having been developed.
Yeah, excellent point.
Yeah, the signal's just really not that strong though in the summer. It's not as clear cut as it is in the winter and springtime here in New Mexico. But yeah, as Sean said, as we get toward the end of the summer, it has some potential impact. But then that just continues on through the fall and winter as well, and actually especially in the spring.
I have a quick question. When was the last time we had an El Nino developing in the late fall, winter time frame? What year?
Is it 09?
Yeah.
Is it 09?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2009.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is it kind of similar to what we're seeing in the models?
I cannot recall.
Okay, I'm just guessing because the main reason is I'm wanting to model my annual operating plan in the Pecos, and the monsoons is very difficult to judge because we really don't know what's going to happen. But if I have a better year to model that with the hydrographs, that'd be wonderful.
This is Victor. I'd say a couple of recent years, I guess one a hit and one a miss. 2009 would definitely be a good year. In that year, the El Nino came in. Here in Texas, we're sort of in similar conditions now we had back then. In fact, I think our January and February this year was like the fifth driest or so, and the driest was actually 2009. Then the El Nino came in, and we got some relief here in late 2009. So 2009 was a hit. The El Nino came in. I think it was forecast to come in. Most certainly did come in during the summer and fall. And at least here in Texas, we had good subsequent rainfall. So 2009 would probably be a good year. 2012, maybe Sean can chime in. 2012, we actually had an El Nino watch issued, just like we do right now, and the conditions sort of ramped up for about a month or two in July and August, and they just sort of fizzled. So 2012 might be another year to look at, but that was the year in which El Nino just sort of teased us and then disappeared.
Well, let's not do that. We want to hit.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate that help there.
Well.
Yeah, I guess I have to throw out 2012 at you there to show the uncertainty involved.
Yeah.
Like I said, it looked really, really positive for El Nino to come in that cold season, and for about a month or two, it looked like maybe July, August, perhaps August, September. It looked like the sea surface temperatures were going to be there, and it was going to be almost a slam dunk, and then it just sort of fizzled. So we got to preface things, with uncertainty.
Right.
Okay.
Chuck,
I'm just tired of having very little monsoons in my model, so I'm going to be more optimistic on this one. Okay.
Chuck, can you go back to the water year map for New Mexico? The one, I think it was like the first one. I'm looking at reason why I'm looking at Lee County and also up in the northeast with Harding, Union, Clay. So looking at
Which one?
Let's look at that one. Just so for reference, I'm just looking at the I'm just thinking through the D3 lines that are up in. Let's first look at the northeast. I'm looking at like Tucumcari. I think at least for the water year, I think it was like the fifth driest, like 22% of normal. Pasamonte was like 32%. So that's one area that, and I think Victor brought it up first with looking at that. At least getting, I know one of the things that first thought of is just closing that D3 area all the way to the Texas border. I'm not sure what Texas. Dave, do you know what on the Texas side, right where that little D2 is? What's on that other side?
Yeah, I think unfortunately not much, Chuck. I think if New Mexico decides to close it off, I think Texas would probably would too for next week's drought monitor.
Yeah, is Dave Simmerall still on? I haven't heard. I don't know if he dropped off.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't sure which Dave was
Oh,
being
sorry,
called
Dave.
out.
Sorry. Yeah, I know there's 3 Daves on the call. But that was one of the areas I was thinking about. That's northern Clay County.
Yeah, right here.
I mean, it's a small area, but I didn't know what was on the Texas
Maybe
side.
the far northeast as well.
Yeah, far all the way up in Northeast Union. Yeah.
You're talking about extending the D3?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit of coordination with Colorado and Texas and Oklahoma, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take a closer look at that. I see some really dry soils too in Otero County in the center of it on Pass. Would you think about expanding some of that D3 into the central part of the county?
Yeah,
it's possible.
I would.
Yeah. And
we talked too about maybe expanding the Southwest deserts too.
yeah, we've been out sampling in that area in Luna and Grand County, and it's really dry out there. We're doing wind erosion studies, and we were digging down. I mean, we haven't analyzed the soil moisture yet, but we were just going down about 10 centimeters, and there's really nothing. So what are your thoughts on like Lee County? Because I was looking at, I just popped up SCASIS, and it looked like there haven't been really, if you look at Jow and Ochoa, those two in that very far corner, they really hadn't had any, according to the ACES, since like December 21st. And currently it's in the D0. What, Dave, you have any thoughts on? I mean, I know Carlsbad hadn't been doing that bad, but that far corner.
Which county are you looking at?
This is Lee County, the very far extreme southeast corner.
Yeah,
So that
this is
yellow,
Eddie here.
yellow D0.
Yeah, that's something definitely to take a closer look at. Also, NLDAS is showing the kind of that northeastern corner of the county is really dry. Soils are really dry. So yeah, that's something I can definitely take a look at.
Yeah, that. Let's see, are they Hobbs? That's Hobbs area. Okay. Yeah, those are my concern areas for this week's edits on the Drought Monitor. That's for Dave Simmerall. There's too many Daves. So Dave Novlin, do you have any thoughts on that? Suggestions?
Well, we're not really, seeing much encouragement here, and what the forecast is that at least we're going to persist. And I noticed that the spreading is into our area, far west Texas, in the forecast there in the Drought Monitor. And the recent little events that we've had, they've been really nothing in terms of precip. Much less than a tenth of an inch at best. So it looks like that forecast for the spreading of that drought into far west Texas is probably starting to come about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the PRISM, the March deviation, the 30 month. Not 30 day. I'm sorry. It was showing very little over there. I guess Hudspeth. Kind of just south of west of the Guadalupe range. Is that because of radar, or?
Yeah,
no rain at all?
That's another area of a lot of blockage, especially in the Hudspeth area there. So you got to take that into account.
Okay.
But nevertheless, the gauges, we're off to bad overall. I would say our area is starting out this year so far. We're 18% of normal, of course. Now you're getting in the dry area anyway, but we're off to a real bad start.
Okay. Yeah, I only asked it because it's right now D0. I don't know if you want to think about going in the other direction.
Right.
Closing off, bringing D1 down in that area. I don't know what West Texas is doing. I don't know if Nielsen Gammon did any edits in that area.
Yeah, David, this is Victor. John has his weekly conference call at 2 p.m. Central Time every Monday. I know Dave Simmerall, I think, is going to attend next week. And David Simmerall, between you and me, this might be a good area for us to ask John next week to maybe reassess that area. Because you're right, they had a ton of rainfall. Southern New Mexico had a ton of rainfall, I guess, in September or so, and it's been pretty dry since then. So maybe John needs to reassess that area. I've been sort of wondering about it myself, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I haven't really brought it to his attention, so it's sort of my bad. I apologize.
No, you just need to bring it up next iteration.
I think, quite honestly, if I had to go one way or the other, I think the Texas portion is probably a little bit under represented right now.
Okay.
Dave Simmerall, something for you and me or something for you to consider next week, and bring it to Professor J&G's attention.
Yeah, sure thing.
Okay, that's all I had on Drought Monitor lines. Any more comments? We can continue on. Let's start with Bureau of Reclamation. Raymond?
Sure. I'll start with the storages on the Rio Grande. Toro is as low as 9,969 acre feet. Erin, 85,003. Novato, 12,969, which is really low. Abiquiu, 152,284. Cochiti, 48,394. Elephant Butte, 358,800. Caballo, 40,300. And on the Pecos, Santa Rosa is 96,269. Sumner, 43,071. Brantley, 34,528. And Avalon, 2,747. So we've started on the irrigation on both the Rio Grande and the Pecos. Rio Grande, MRGCD, they got started up, and they, it's kind of started slow. They're just using the native that's coming through the system. So we'll have to see how that goes down the line as far as how much we'll be receiving from Colorado and whatnot once they make their deliveries. But it's just terrible looking at the snowpack numbers, and they're just blowing away to nothing. And what has us concerned is just the soil moisture, like you all been mentioning. If we'll even see much of that. Last year, the snowtail numbers were about the same what they were on the Pecos, and nothing made it into Santa Rosa with the numbers that we're seeing right now. So otherwise, we got good storage on the Pecos, and we should do okay there. But on the Rio Grande, we'll just have to see how we go. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Raymond.
Hey, this is Victor. Can I ask a quick question? I noticed for the Pecos, I think last month they just called like around 17%, which is not a bad number, but I think I saw where it dropped to 15%, of reservoir capacity, of normal capacity, this week. Is that just normal dwindling, or is irrigation already started?
On the Pecos?
No, I'm sorry. My bad. On Elephant Butte Reservoir. I think last month, we commented it had risen up a little bit, up to about 17%. I see it's dropped back down to 15% this week. Is it starting to whittle away, or is irrigation starting? Is it whittling away naturally, or is irrigation starting up?
I believe they'd be starting up. Yeah, they'd be starting up. They started in the middle Rio Grande, and
I think
they started in the lower Rio Grande also.
I think they're good. I heard there was somewhere around June 1st. But they may be moving to Caballo. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be also evap as well. It's been pretty warm and windy down there.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I had a better answer on that one. I'm not.
Raymond, this is John Fleck. When you say
land up water from Elephant Butte to Caballo when they start getting ready to water.
Raymond, this is John Fleck. When you say the snowpack's blowing away, do you mean you're seeing sublimation?
Yeah, the numbers are just going down. Yeah, on the pillow, the snowtail numbers on the pillow.
Thanks.
Yeah, the numbers are just going down.
Hey, Raymond, this is Victor. Actually, disregard. Last month it was 17%. This month it's 18%. So Elephant Butte is hanging in there.
Okay.
And a year ago, for reference sake, it was 11%.
11.
Yeah,
1 year ago it was 11%. This week it's 18.
Oh, okay.
There hasn't been much of a release this past week out of Elephant Butte, based off of the USGS gauge.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's going to take some amazing years to get all that back up over there.
Yeah.
You like the early mid 80s, those huge snowpacks back to back to get them all up, get those reservoirs up. So.
Yeah, it's like almost. Maybe 1 million acre feet. Almost, maybe 9.
2 million acre feet.
Yeah, or 2 million acre. I'm sorry, 2 million.
Yep. 2 2 million acre feet. I was here when that happened, and we got out of debt and filled the reservoirs. It was spilling. And
Spilling, wow. That's right.
Those were snowpacks, and they were back to back. Several of them. So, and we had the conveyance going too. So.
Right.
I probably won't see that in my career, the rest of my career.
All right. Any more questions on reservoirs?
No, Sean. Curtis, did you have anything to add to the Pecos on that one?
I'm sure glad September happened last year. Raymond hit it right off the bat. The snow tower is a little bit higher than last year, and Santa Rosa actually got 6,000 acre-feet of water in volume based off of the snowmelt runoff. And it's predicting, and I'm using the 70%, it's at that range, 7,000 acre-feet of water coming into Santa Rosa, but that's based off of the March 1 stream forecast for an NRCS. So it's similar to what we experienced last year.
And if you consider that we had not had last September's event, 6,000 acre feet for irrigation is drop in the bucket,
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't give you any hope, whatever.
Yeah, and then they're just trying to figure out best way to use the water throughout the system. We usually have a block release in March, early April timeframe, and we probably won't do that out of Santa Rosa or Sumner because you never know. Just like it was mentioned previously, if El Nino does not show up, we could be right back in the drier states of the reservoirs.
Yeah. And the nice thing is they got that much water down in Brandley, so that'll give them plenty to start with. They're not going to start up down in Carlsbad area to probably April 1st for the watering.
Mm-hmm.
And normally, too, when the water level is pretty low at Brandley, it gets kind of brackish, so they have to have an early block release to freshen up the water. Why not? So this year they won't have to do that, so that'd be another reason to hold off on the first block release.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else have anything? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Raymond. I don't know if Wayne made it on the call or not. Are you on the call, Wayne? Okay. I don't think he's sent out any the NRCS reports. You didn't get
No,
anything?
he did not.
Okay.
At least I didn't see anything.
Okay. All right. Well, if we do see anything, we'll forward it out to the group. Okay. And I didn't know if Anne Marie is on the line or not with the USGS. No, I haven't. Oh, what I see. We do have the report on GoTo though.
Yeah, she sent me the report. If I recall, I think she said she wasn't going to be able to be on the call.
Oh, okay. All right. Have you had a chance to look over any of that, Chuck?
No, not really. The percent of average, really across the north, not bad at all. But the farther south you go, the worse it gets.
Right.
South and east.
Right. Okay. Well, it'd be good if you could forward that out to the group. I think I'd like to look at it, at least look at it myself.
Okay, I'll send it out with my PDF version of it.
Yeah. And it may be nice to actually I'll have to ask Anne Marie, maybe a change, maybe a 1 month change. I don't know if she automatically automates this, or is it something to compare to see what happens over time. Well, okay. All right. Let's move on to the New Mexico Office of State Engineer. I think we have Molly and Julie in the office there. Is that right?
Yeah, it's Molly and I are here. I'll be doing the talking.
Okay. Go for it.
So here's our drought report for this month. I'm not going to go over numbers since Raymond kind of went over those. So Chuck, if you could just kind of go through the slides here, and as I talk. I just wanted to kind of point out that in the Canadian River Basin, the Pecos River Basin, and the San Juan, those reservoirs are doing a little better than they were last year, and all the ones on the Rio Grande are, besides Elephant Butte, are doing much worse. So, we haven't seen any relief in as far as our storage capacity in those. Does anyone have any questions? So you can see how low we are this year.
Pathetic on the river.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
And I know that they are already watering in some of the places up north. They've turned on the irrigation already.
Yeah, that's when you saw Lovato. I mean, normally we would always get up to 180,000, at max storage, and past the rest of the inflow, and now we're not even close to. I mean, we're at 12,000 from 180,000. So doesn't give you much to work with.
Yeah, so I don't know how quick that water is going to. I mean, if we don't get any precip, that's just going to really empty out pretty quick.
Yeah.
That's all we have on our side.
Okay, great. Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
And we do have a drought task force scheduled. And that's on April 8th. It's in Artesia. So, Chuck, are you going?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be there. It's a killer week, but I'll be there.
That's a killer drive early in the morning.
That is true. Yeah. I've got 2 students that need to defend that week, and Albuquerque trip, and Verdoso. So that'll be a fun week. Looking forward to seeing New Mexico. All right. Any questions for Julie on those maps? But they always go up on the website, so we can look at those. I didn't know if going on to the agenda. I don't know if I didn't hear Les. Are you on the call? No, I guess not. So we'll see. I talked to Les a week ago, and he didn't say if he was going to be on or not. So I'll chat with him. I had talked to him about the drought emergency declarations that were. There was a press release a week or 2 ago for Doña Ana, Luna. Those are primary counties. I had a question about that, and I think Joy Lynn wasn't able to be on the call either. She was out of the office and not back until I think the 28th, so I don't think she's on either. And I haven't heard from Emelita. So any other topics that we need to bring up?
No, this is Susan. I talked to somebody at NMDA this morning, and they said that the governor is preparing a drought declaration, but I didn't ask where specifically it's at.
Ah, okay. Okay, anybody know anything about that? Anything leaked? Okay. Okay, if you
the only thing I have to report is that we're doing our normal preparations for fire season, and the one thing that's new and different is we did get legislative funding for a permanent veterans crew, and we're in the process of hiring those veterans at this time.
Great. All right. So if anybody hears anything on the governor's drought declaration, please forward it to the group. I'll pay attention to the news, and there's usually something that gets circulated around. So yeah. All right. Anything else before we decide to schedule the next meeting? Okay. So Chuck, let's talk about the availability of your office in April. CPC updates on the 17th of April. Do you want to do like a day after, like we did today, like the 18th, Friday?
Friday.
Would that work?
Yeah, so, Friday is by far my best day. So yeah, that would work for me, 10 o'clock on Friday.
So that's the proposed time, April 18th, 10 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time. Would that work for everybody? Or most?
Good.
Okay. All right. We'll set that out. We'll email that notice for folks who couldn't make the call. So that remind folks. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. I appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next month.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.